Welcome to Life and Fatherhood, the podcast where new dads like you find community, insight, and practical tips to navigate the incredible journey of fatherhood. I'm your host, Alonso Williams Jr., and I'm here to bring you valuable conversations with fellow dads who share their wisdom and experience. Whether you're looking for advice, inspiration, or just a place to connect with other fathers, you are in the right place. Ready to dive in? Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Life and Fatherhood. I am your host, Alonso Williams Jr., and today we're talking about a vital aspect of parenting that can be tough to navigate, and I mean allowing your kids to struggle. All right, now struggle, all right, they're struggling a bit while ensuring they don't suffer. It might sound counterintuitive, but struggle can be one of the best teachers for our children. As a matter of fact, I can make an argument that a healthy amount of struggle is needed for them to be the people that they are meant to be. And so I have a quick story I want to go ahead and share about how struggle actually helped my oldest son become more creative and more resourceful. So he's in this really cool phase where he likes to play with these tile magnets, right? So they're like basically like Legos, but in a magnetic form. That's the best way I can explain it. So he likes to build what he calls car washes. So he likes to build them tall, likes to build them high, and of course, the higher it goes up, the easier it is for it to fall. Now, the first couple of times when it would fall, visibly upset, verbally upset, start to whine, start to, clench his hands, start to, clench his jaw, just be very, very upset. And he would always ask for, me or his mom to come over and help him. Now, of course, do the parent thing, help once or twice, but of course, when your kids start to notice that every time they call you, they tend to stop putting in their effort and expect you to do it. That's something that we had to cut out early. That's something that had to be nipped in the bud automatically, because as parents, you and I, right, as fathers, right, man to man, you and I know that as much as we want to be here for our kids all the time, there will be a day that we just won't be, right? And although he is young, it's important for him to understand right now, at least start teaching him now, that there are going to be certain things in this life that you're just going to have to learn as you do. You have to learn on your own. So next time he tried building his, magnetic car wash, and he called for Daddy to come help, I looked at him. I looked over, I looked at him and said, nah, you do it. You figure it out. Now, once again, that really made him even more upset. But I mean, hey, it's to be expected. I mean, he's still a toddler. He's still a child. But, of course, he still wanted that. He still wanted his magnetic car wash to be built. So guess what he did? It took him a little bit longer, but he figured it out. And the joy and the excitement and it was a level of relief that came over him when he did figure out how to do it and get it to, be stable. And that's a word there. By his own struggles, he was able to create stability in something that he had his hands on. I really do pray that you understand that if we want our children to be strong and to really leave a legacy and to really build a lineage, don't be afraid to step back when need be. Let them struggle, okay? Let them figure it out. Foster creativity in them. That way, when our children become young men and women, and life comes at them, because life ain't like these tile magnets. Life comes at you a lot of different ways, and sometimes you won't be able to pick up the pieces. But being trained in endurance through struggle is something that they will carry with them for the rest of their life. Right? And so I say that to say struggle is a part of life, and it's essential for growth. When we let our kids experience challenges, we're giving them the opportunity to build that character, giving them the opportunity to, build that endurance, for those moments of frustration and adversity. They learn that it's okay to fail. Failure is very much a part of life because we're not perfect. Often through that failure, we gain wisdom and we gain strength. And we think about it, when we face our own struggles, we often come out on the other side more equipped to handle future struggles. See how that works? It's like building blocks, or it's like stepping stones. Each season of difficulty and hardship, for us, how it prepared us for where we are and where we're going. Think about how much more that does for our children. Think about how much more it does for our grandchildren by us allowing our children to experience what they needed to experience. In a lot of ways, if you try to step in too soon, hey, you might be blocking their blessing. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm really saying that to encourage you to realize that, it's bigger than us. It's even bigger than them. Right? So it can be hard to watch our kids struggle, but we want to protect them from pain and disappointment. But there's a difference between struggle and suffering. See, struggling can lead to creativity, like I said, and innovation and a sense of accomplishment and an overall sense of better well-being. Right? Like I said, when my son finally figured it out, we could see that confidence pouring into other areas of his life with his learning. Like just recently, my wife told me that, he'll have moments in the day. Well, let me take a step back. It was almost like pulling teeth trying to get him to sit down and learn. Have him sit down and read, do math, write, whatever it was. It was like it was just a challenge, right? But recently, he began to, while I'm at work, he'll come to my wife and say, "Okay, Mommy, I'm ready to learn now. I'm ready for this challenge. I'm ready to, pick up this book and read. I know I'm not gonna get all these words right, but I'm ready to take on the challenge." Something as simple as that. See, those are little foundational moments that as he gets older and becomes his own man, of course he's going to face things, different challenges, different aspects of life that he's not familiar with. But you can tell right here and right now that he's on the right path towards excelling, and being a very highly productive person. But not just that, being a blessing to other people. Because, when your kids do the same things as far as, taking on their own challenges and succeeding, think about how that makes them leaders. Think about how that's going to make your daughter a leader in the classroom, on the field court, in the office or in a building, in their businesses, whatever it may be in life. Think about how much that's going to produce leadership in them. This is serious stuff, y'all, for real. And so, I really want to encourage, struggle that is okay. It's different between struggling and suffering. Now, of course, don't go overboard and just let them crumble, right? Don't go overboard and have them, lose themselves, in a traumatic way. That's not what we're here for. You got to have enough wisdom and discernment to know when to step in and when to step back. And I'm confident that you have that. I'm confident that you know when to, do what you need to do. All right. So how can we strike this balance? Here are a few steps in how we can implement proper struggles or allow proper struggles. We don't even have to put struggle in their life. Life is full of it. So the way that we can let them struggle well is first, like I just said, step back. Give your kids the space to tackle the challenge on their own. You can offer some guidance, but resist the urge to swoop in and fix it, right? Oftentimes, especially when they're crying and they're screaming and yelling out of frustration, and we just want to get them to stop, so we'll go over and try to fix it. Hey, hold firm, stand your ground, okay? If you need to, go ahead, leave the room and let them sit with their own emotions until they go ahead, calm down, and then they do it. But step back, okay? The next one, number 2, encourage problem solving. So ask questions that prompt them to think critically, right? Instead of just telling them what to do. One of the things that we love to do is whenever, well, for both of our boys, if they ask us, what's that? We're like, okay, well, what do you think it is? Where are we going? Well, where do you think we're going? Allowing them to be their own like thinkers, like their own free thinkers, because they have their own brains. You know, they have their own. They have no wherewithal to even ask a question. If you have no wherewithal to ask a question, then you're capable of understanding the right answer. So encourage them to problem solve. All right, and the last one is to celebrate efforts, not just success. Recognize, that hard work and that determination, you know, that they put forward into overcoming the challenge. Now, of course, they may not get it on the first try. They may not even get it on the third try. It might take them 6, 7 tries. But each time that they try, it's just like their first steps. When your little one, remember when your little one was beginning to walk. I know, sure I do. I remember when both of our boys were beginning to walk, and it was just such an exciting moment. Of course, when they first start trying to take those steps, what they do? They fail. But what did they do? Got right back up. And they kept trying it. They kept going. And now they're running. Now they're jumping. Now they're climbing. You see how that works? Like, it's already in them. But we have to, the same energy we had when it was time for them to walk, we have to keep that same exact energy when they're in their struggle seasons. Okay? Now, I want you to remember, letting your kids struggle a bit is not only okay, it's necessary for their growth and development. It's part of their character development. It's part of building that endurance for all the other challenges in their life. That creativity that they need to be the problem solver in not just their life, but even in other people's life. Like I said, it's bigger than us. Preparing them for challenges that they will face all throughout life. So embrace those moments and let your kids rise to the occasion. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Life and Fatherhood. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. So reach out and share your stories. Until next time, keep nurturing growth in your family. Thank you for tuning in to Life and Fatherhood. I hope today's episode gave you some valuable insight and new ideas for your own fatherhood journey. For more tips, blogs, and downloadable resources to support your wellness and leadership at home, visit lifeandfatherhood.com. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoy the show. Until next time, keep leading and embracing every moment of fatherhood.